Welcome to World Top List channel. In this video, I'll show you a list of top 15 most haunted places in the world you'll never want to visit, some of which you've most likely heard of, and some of which you may have not. What is for sure though, is that you'll likely want to read some of these stories with the lights on. Brace yourself in a pure hair-raising experience on most haunted places in the world. Number 1. Mary King's Close, Edinburgh, Scotland. Mary King's Close is an underground warren of streets and dwellings. It was once a thriving trade area where Edinburgh's tradesmen used to live and work. However, in 1645 the close was believed to have been abandoned after an outbreak of the plague. Those that were infected stayed behind in isolation. The location is now a popular tourist destination, running daily tours to people interested in learning about the history and the legends associated with the close. Since the 17th century there have been reports of paranormal goings-on in the close, and it's now regarded as one of the most haunted places in Scotland. The Fart family who lived there in 1685 were the first ones to report something paranormal. Soon after they moved in after the outbreak of plague, they began to see ghostly figures, and were left terrified after seeing phantom disembodied limbs, and experiencing very vivid nightmares. Number 2. Old Chenji Hospital, Chenji, Singapore. The Old Chenji Hospital is a former hospital in Chenji, Singapore. It was built back in 1935 as part of the Old Chenji military base. During the occupation of the Japanese, the compound was used by the notorious Kempeitai, the Japanese secret police, as a prison and torture camp. After the end of World War II, the building was again a hospital, and remained so until 1997, when it was replaced by the Chenji General Hospital. It has stood derelict and decaying ever since. The building is now haunted by its past, with Japanese soldiers, people that were executed, and the patients that died here. Apparitions of an old man has been seen walking down the corridors, and a woman has been seen walking through the rooms. The spirits of children are known to haunt the old children's ward, and the ghosts of bloody Japanese soldiers have been seen also. Loud bangs and unexplained screams are also a common occurrence. Number 3. St. Augustine Lighthouse, Florida, USA. St. Augustine Lighthouse, built in 1974, is an active lighthouse and museum in St. Augustine, Florida. The lighthouse and surrounding buildings are reportedly haunted. The apparitions of 2 girls has been reported on several occasions by both visitors and staff. The girls are believed to be the daughters of Hezekiah Petit, who was in charge of construction of the lighthouse in the 1870s. His 2 daughters died during its construction, in a tragic accident on the site. Both of them have been seen on the tower catwalk. The apparition of a woman has also been witnessed, standing on a stairway of the lighthouse or walking on the grounds outside the buildings. Her voice has been heard on several occasions, often crying out for help. There has also been various reports of disembodied conversations, shadows, and the sound of footsteps coming up the lighthouse steps. Number 4. Edinburgh Castle, Edinburgh, Scotland. The site on which Edinburgh Castle sits has history dating back to the Iron Age. Situated overlooking what many people believe to be the most haunted city on earth, Edinburgh Castle has been the site of torture and many bloody battles during its time. Recipes for many a haunted location. Visitors and staff of this now tourist destination have experienced many things over the years. The most common is the feeling of being touched and pulled, as well as the sighting of apparitions. Spirits that have been witnessed include an old man wearing an apron, a headless drummer boy, and a piper who mysteriously lost his life after getting lost in the tunnels below the castle. Number 5. Island of the Dolls, Xochimilco, Mexico. Located on Lake Texuelo in Xochimilco in Mexico City, the island La Isla de la Muñecas, the Island of the Dolls, is certainly one of the strangest haunted locations in our list. In the 1950s, a man named Julian Barrera moved to the island despite being married with a young family. Julian was unaware of the dark history of the area when he moved there to become a recluse. Legend says that 3 young girls were playing near the water in the 1920s, when one of the girls fell in and drowned in the murky waters. Locals believe that ever since their death, the young girl's spirit has been unable to leave the island. It soon grew quite a reputation as a haunted place, and locals wouldn't go near it at night for fear of what they may see. Julian claimed that as soon as he moved on the island a little girl began speaking to him. The girl told Julian how she had died, and that she was trapped on the island. He began to get the dolls for this little girl, often selling off fruit and vegetables that he had grown on the island, so that he could buy old dolls for her to play with. Number 6. Poveglia Island, Italy. In the Venice lagoon between Venice and Lido, sits a small island of Poveglia, inhabited since 421. When mainlanders fled to seek refuge from the invaders, Poveglia's population began to dwindle centuries later, and by the 14th century the island was completely abandoned. As with many small islands in Europe during the bubonic plague outbreak in the 14th century, the island became a quarantine colony. Many Venetians were sent here to die, their dead infected bodies being burned on giant pyres. This was also the case in 1630, when the Black Death swept through Venice. The site was apparently used as a mental asylum during the 1800s. However, many sources state that this simply is not the case. Stories persist though of ill treatment and experimental procedures being carried out in building. During 1930 a doctor is believed to have committed suicide, jumping to his death from the bell tower. From the mid-20th century up until 1975 when it was closed, Poveglia Hospital was used as geriatric center. Number 7. Lawang Sewu, Semarang, Indonesia. Lawang Sewu, meaning Thousand Doors, was built in 1917 by the Dutch East Indian Railway Company. During World War II the Japanese occupied Indonesia, and Lawang Sewu was taken over by Japanese forces. The basement of the building was used as a prison, where many people were treated harshly, with many of them being executed. When Semarang was retaken by the Dutch in October 1945 at the Battle of Semarang, Dutch soldiers used the tunnel underneath a building to sneak into the city. A battle ensued and numerous Indonesian soldiers were killed, as well as 5 employees. Lawang Sewu is believed to be the most haunted place in Indonesia, with many tourists visiting the beautiful building to hopefully catch a glimpse of the paranormal. Among the many ghosts that have been reported here, the most popular and often cited spirit is the Dutch woman. She is believed to have committed suicide there, and was captured on film during a TV program. Number 8. Babenhausen Barracks, Hesse, Germany. Now a museum. The ghost of World War II German soldiers have been seen in uniform. Lights are known to turn on and off by themselves and voices are heard in the basement. German commands are often heard being shouted out in the middle of the night, and disembodied footsteps are a common experience. Soldiers who have visited the museum and picked up a telephone have reported hearing a woman talking backwards. It's not clear whether it's in English or German. In the town of Babenhausen, a woman was allegedly burned at the stake sometime in the 19th century. Her ghost is said to have seduced and killed several German soldiers. Number 9. Borgvattnet, the haunted vicarage, Sweden. Borgvattnet is a small village in Jutland County, northern Sweden. It's renowned for having one of the most haunted houses in Sweden, the old vicarage, which was built in 1876. The first ghost ever documented at the vicarage came in 1927, when the chaplain Nils Hedlund resided. He reported many strange happenings, including one particular encounter with something paranormal. He was on his way up to the attic to gather his laundry when he witnessed his laundry being torn down from the line by an unseen force. Rudolf Tangden, a priest who lived at the vicarage during the 1930s, saw an old woman dressed in gray appear in a room. He followed her as she walked away, but she vanished in front of his eyes. In the 1940s, Tangden's successor, Otto Lindgren, and his wife said they had several paranormal experiences, including unexplained sounds and moving objects. Number 10. Chteau de Brissac, Maine et Loire, France. Originally built in the 11th century as a castle by the Counts of Anjou, Chteau de Brissac was rebuilt in 1502 by Charles II, Duke of Brissac, who gave it its name. This noble castle is the tallest in France, and it exudes old-world charm, but one of its past residents has shocked more than one visitor. A double murder that occurred sometime in the 15th century within the walls of the castle has resulted in one of the more popular ghosts of the Chteau de Brissac, that of the La Dame Verte, or Green Lady. The current residents, the current Duke of Brissac and his family, have become accustomed to her roaming the rooms, but she has scared many a guest. She is often seen in the tower room of the chapel, wearing her green dress. What's most terrifying, however, is her face. If she looks at you, you'll see that her face has gaping holes where her eyes and nose should be, resembling what a corpse would look like, as well as her sighting. Her moans are also often heard throughout the castle in the early hours. Number 11. Bangalore Fort, Rajasthan, is located on the way to Alwar and Jaipur in Rajasthan in India. As per a legend there was a black magic sorcerer who cursed the residents of the palace that they all would die an unnatural death and their spirits will stay there for centuries to haunt the fort/kill it forever. This fort would really freak any living mortal. One can seldom find a temporary household in the close periphery of this fort. Let us reveal you one more fact about this place. The village households found here are without roofs, as there persists a popular belief and experience that the moment a rooftop is built on a house it collapses. This is said to be the most haunted place in India and amongst the world's most haunted places. People are not allowed to spend the night in the fort, for obvious reasons. Believe us, it is also said that anybody who has been to this place after dusk never comes back. Number 12. Banff Springs Hotel, Alberta, Canada. The Banff Springs Hotel in Alberta, Canada, was built over 125 years ago by the Canadian Pacific Railway, as a luxury stop-off point for train travelers. Don't let its picturesque surroundings fool you though. It's rumored to be one of the most haunted in the country. Terrifying reports include the sighting of a bride who fell down the staircase, breaking her neck after panicking when her dress caught fire. Her apparition has been seen on the staircase and in the ballroom dancing, with many reporting the flames from the back of her dress. The main story that is told by locals is that of the family that was murdered in room 873. The door to this room has since been bricked up, but the family that lost their life in this room are still seen to this day, often in the hallway outside the room. Number 13. Ancient Ram Inn, Gloucestershire, England. Built in 1145, the Ancient Ram Inn is believed to be the most haunted house in the entire British Isles, and perhaps the most haunted house in the world. The tales of child sacrifices, devil worship, and evil spirits are believed to be behind the terrifying happenings in this building. The inn was built on the intersection of two ley lines, what many people believe is a conductor for spiritual activity. In addition, an ancient pagan burial ground is said to have resided in the property over 5,000 years ago. During its time as a bed and breakfast, people would often flee in the middle of the night, often seeing full-bodied apparitions in their rooms. The feeling of being touched, pulled, disembodied voices, and just a general feeling of evil. Number 14. The Tower of London, London, England. With a history of torture and execution going back over 900 years, the Tower of London is regarded by many as one of the most haunted places in the UK. It was originally built in 1078 by William the Conqueror, and has served a major role in the history of England ever since. There have been many reports of the paranormal at the Tower of London over the years. The most famous of all the spirits that lie within its walls is Anne Boleyn, the wife of King Henry VIII. She was beheaded in 1536, and her headless body has been seen walking the tower's corridors and often near the spot of her demise. Other full-bodied apparitions have also been seen, including Lady Jane Grey, who was spotted by a guardsman in 1957. In the White Tower, the White Lady has been seen, often standing at window, where she once stood waving to her children on the other side of the building. Number 15. Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Kentucky, United States. Waverly Hills was originally a two-story wooden building that was opened in 1910. However, the building you see today was constructed in 1926. It served as a tuberculosis hospital throughout the early to mid-20th century, a time when the disease was at its worst. It is believed that as many as 63,000 patients died there. The death toll, as well as the supposed mistreatment and questionable experimental procedures on patients, are all recipes that may be behind one of the most haunted buildings in the whole of the U.S. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium has built quite the reputation over the years as more and more people are allowed to investigate the premises. This has thrown up some incredible evidence over the years. It has featured on shows such as Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters Taps, and our very own Most Haunted. Taps captured a figure on their thermal imaging camera that seemed to be walking across the hall. The figure was about 3 feet tall. They later found out that the ghost of a young boy named Tim has been spotted there before. Thank you for watching Word Top List.